What's up, guys? Welcome back to Married to. I am your co-host, Charles Murray, with always my lovely wife,
Anisha. We obviously haven't been here for about 2 weeks, so let's play a little catch up.
Little ketchup. That's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
She doesn't like tomatoes, but she does like ketchup. Let's start there.
Facts.
She also likes salsa, but only some salsa.
Yeah, it's
But doesn't like tomatoes. Please explain.
It's literally, it's a texture thing. It's the sliminess of the tomato. It's just spicy.
Well,
No.
we don't need to go into that texture stuff, but that's fine.
Ew. Gross. Why would we do that?
I don't know why you had to make it perverted. That's nasty of you. Anyway, starting off great. Anyway, so
Right.
Today we're going to talk a little bit more about, I guess just basic conflict resolution and perspective. I guess different perspectives on things. Kind of going to talk a little bit about a tiff, kind of what it was, my side of what I perceived it, her perception of it, and kind of how eventually we resolved it and came through, right? So, per usual, we'll go ladies first. So,
You would do that to me. I don't remember what it was now.
exactly.
I don't remember the tip.
The tiff was you were making your bread and I went in to play a game.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been Sunday.
I guess the hard part is like, I don't even really know how to explain necessarily what the tiff was. More along the lines of looking for connection. Yeah, I think was what it was for me. And I think the ultimate struggle is both of us just want to have effort put in, and I think both of us want to be heard and to be seen by the other person, but that's my perspective of it.
Okay. I feel like
and-
you're avoiding the whole conversation over what the tiff was. So kind of walk them through what happened, I guess would be my thing. And then
Oh, okay.
once again, your side of what happened, and then I'll tell my side and go from there.
So that's what I'm trying to say. I don't really remember exactly what sparked the tiff, more or less, other than I don't really know.
So lesson one, if it's so stupid that 2 days later you can't even remember it, then it probably wasn't worth getting upset about in the first place. Which comes to show that in the moment, things will always seem bigger than they are. So don't expressions make a mountain out of a molehill.
I mean, I rebuttal that to a sense, though, because the only thing I remember out of it was that I was just looking for connection. So
Yeah.
I think that the tiff in itself, I think take away what it was that you needed to take away from the tiff and talk about that with your partner at a different time. Because I feel like that's what we talked about on the way back,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. But I know that it had to do with I was in the kitchen doing my thing. You were playing your game in your office, and you had come out to sit. Why do I feel like that was 2 different days? Like, I feel like I don't know.
No, so basically Sunday, we kind of had a lazy day, kind of in between of us doing some work stuff and doing some other stuff. So Sunday we had talked about going to Richmond, picking some things up, doing some things. We were both like, I wouldn't care to get out and walk around, but I also wouldn't care just to stay home and relax and do some stuff. And we're both just really tired from a lot of long weeks, of a lot of long hours, a lot of long days.
Mm-hmm.
So ended up not going. So essentially you're like, well, I got stuff I got to do anyway. It's fine, blah, blah. So per usual, you kind of went to your spot, which is typically our bed. You kind of spread things out in the bed. You'll usually turn on a show, work on your laptop, do whatever. I went to what is now kind of my office, and essentially kind of was in and out all day, kind of doing my thing, right? So I would do some work. I would play a game or two for, the games are 10 to 15 minutes on those. So I'd do some work, play a game or two, and then either get back on to do some work, or occasionally I'd walk in the bedroom, kind of check on you, see what was going on. Sometimes you had dozed off a little bit, so I kind of just kiss you on the cheek and move on. Sometimes you're awake working, so I kind of just like nudge on you. A couple of times I laid in bed while you were on the phone or doing whatever you're doing just for a minute, then kind of went back to doing my thing. So didn't really like spend a lot of time with each other, but kind of just in and out per se. You came in there and kind of poked your head in once or twice before you took off to play with your chickens and ducks and whatever else. And fast forward to that evening, we had kind of talked, and it was probably like 7, 8 o'clock, and we're like, hey, let's, what would you like to do? Like, let's do something. And you're like, oh, let's go for a walk. I'd rather go now than later. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's grab some food, because you said you want to meal prep, so we'll just grab some food to eat while you cook, and we can go for a walk. And you're like, no, I want to go for the walk now. If we're going, it's just supposed to rain. So we ended up going, getting food. It rained anyway, like right then and there, so we didn't even get to go for the walk. So we just kind of ate the food. I brought my laptop and stuff to the kitchen table while you were going to be meal prepping. You ended up sitting down, talking to me about stuff with work and different ideas, which was whatever, but it wasn't like what we were supposed to be going over, because you wanted to go over like a goal for signups and stuff. I ended up getting up, going to the bathroom. When I came back, you had kind of gotten up, was like, no, I want to make my sourdough. And you'd pull out your laptop and turned on like a Netflix show, which you do a lot, mostly for, you say it's background noise and stuff. So we were chatting, and then you turned on the show. It was like, this isn't the right show, but then you let it play anyway. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I had done everything I needed to do outside of going over the numbers with you. You started baking your sourdough and then had your Netflix on. So I'd kind of try to talk to you in and out sometimes. You couldn't hear me half the time. So I was like, you know what, like, in my mind, I walked over, kissed you on the cheek, read the recipe, how long is this gonna take, what's going on? You're like, I don't know. And then you'd set a timer for about 30 minutes. So it's like, cool, I'm gonna go ahead and pack my stuff up. I'll take it in the office. I'll just hop on, play one game just to turn my mind off of work, and then we can come back out and watch that movie you brought up you wanted to watch. I think it was called Apex. And so we're like, we'll watch that movie, yada, yada. Well, no sooner than I got in the office, sat down, you poked your head in, didn't say a word, slammed the door, walked out. So I'm like, okay, she's mad. So then I go out there, didn't even finish the game, didn't anything, turned it off, immediately walked back out in the kitchen. What's wrong? What's going on? You start doing dishes. I'm like, why are you doing the dishes? That's the girl's job. And you told me like you were trying to basically not blow up, and et cetera, et cetera. So in my perspective, from my point of view, it's okay. Like, you're claiming you wanted connection, you wanted to spend time together, yet you immediately started doing an activity that's a one-person thing and had nothing to do with me or anything I wanted to do. And on top of that, you turned on a movie or background noise, whatever you want to call it, to where we couldn't conversate. I told you I was bored and asked you what you wanted to do with it. And then I literally timed it out to where by the time you were done, I was already done and back in the kitchen. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm leaving her alone to do her thing. I can turn my mind off of work, and then we can hang out and watch her movie. I'm done before she's done, which I was. And then you were upset because you're like, well, you could have hung out and talked to me. I'm like, I couldn't. You had Netflix playing. You couldn't even hear me when I was talking to you. So from my perspective, I'm like, what do you want from me, right? Like, you were supposed to be meal prepping, which we could do to a degree together, but while you're meal prepping, we're going to talk about numbers or whatever. Instead, you sourdough'd, and then you turned on a movie. Like, and it wasn't like it was in the TV in the background. Like, you're on the other side of the kitchen on the counter. You put your laptop in between me and you to where there's no chance of me talking over it, and even had made the comment about putting your headphones in at one point. So I'm like, cool, man. Like, she's just she's just doing her thing. She enjoys it. She loves doing her sourdough. She loves doing her baths. She likes to read. That's her little me time to breathe, calm down, collect. She's probably just shutting her brain off from doing work stuff too, so I'll let her shut hers off. I'll go shut mine off, and then we can hang out tonight and watch a movie. It's only 8:30, 9 o'clock, so we have plenty of time. And obviously it upsetted you. So in the moment, obviously it frustrated me a lot because I'm like, what the heck do you want from me then? Like, you want me just to sit here like a good boy at the kitchen table while mommy does her stuff and I just hang out? Like, and call her or something? Like, I'm not a 3-year-old. I'm not gonna, if you're doing stuff for you and your fun and your entertainment, I want to do stuff for my fun and my entertainment. Like, it wasn't something we were doing together. It wasn't something that's a together activity. And what we did choose that we were going to do together, which was watch a movie, you decided not to do. So I'm like, okay, like, that's fine. I'm not upset. I don't care. But then I'm like, you have no right to be upset with me because you made these choices. But you were upset with me anyway. So from my perspective, I'm like, what am I supposed to do then? Like, sit here and suffer for 30 minutes while you bake bread and just wait on you? Like, what does it matter if I wait on you here or wait on you there or wait on you in here? Or if I do something else while you're, like, I don't get the problem. Which obviously as time went on, I calmed down. Like, I made sure to go in the bedroom. I was like, hey, like, I don't want you to feel like this is me saying I didn't want to spend time with you. If that's how it made you feel, then I'm sorry. It was just very simply you were doing your thing, which did not involve me. So I went to do my own thing until you were done. Which is, like I said, clearly not how you perceived it from your side of things. But, I guess you're welcome to fill in your side, but if that helps.
I mean, yeah, to rebuttal that.
It's not a rebuttal, it's just your side.
I guess rebuttal's the wrong word to use.
Yeah, I mean, we're not debating what happened. It's just reality is each person's perspective, right? Like, obviously you were in a completely different perspective to me, so how you see it, how it went down and what was going on is completely different than how I did. And that's fine. Like, everyone's different in that aspect.
To add to that, as you can hear, there's a lot of anger from his side, a lot of frustration, a lot of fed up, basically. And I think this is why we do these. Because I didn't know until this moment when I could actually just shut my mouth and he doesn't have to use his goat to sit in clarity of how he feels. But also to sit in clarity on what it was that I wanted. When you get in a relationship, and very early on, when you're with somebody that already has kids and somebody that has already started a life, and you have kids and you've already started a life and you haven't had time to heal from things in your past, things like this will send triggers. And it's been 10 years. And while most of you that are going to hear this, I hope that if I can tell you anything, is that you take his frustration and his anger and you give him grace with that, because it's been 10 years of doing the same thing. Now, with that being said, obviously I know that I have tried to work on things But we all only live one life, right? We only live one life, as in the first time you're going to go through something, you don't know that it's going to hit you until it does. So lately, Charlie's been very busy with gym number 2 and possible gym number 3. So there's been a lot of times he's on his phone. There's a lot of division between the two of us. We don't get to see each other near as much. I'm in Richmond, he's in Connorsville, or vice versa. There's several days that we see each other literally in passing. And that's hard. That is very hard when all I've known for 10 years is to do something with my best friend at my side. So while connection is what I was looking for, it's also the fear. The fear that comes along with you're still not good enough. The fear of he's going to leave. You have to hold on tighter. You have to make sure that everything's okay. Now you have to keep it in this like pretty little box is what I like to say. Which is where control comes in. My son's graduating. He's 18 years old. That comes with a whole lot of trauma I didn't know was coming because I haven't had time to deal with it. That also comes with things are quiet. There's not a kid walking through the house. There's not arguments with him to pick up his stuff. There's not just noise. And since I was 18 or before, all I've ever known is noise. So it's deafening. When you're in a house by yourself and your husband's in another room and it just feels utterly quiet. It's not his fault. It's not anybody's fault, really. It just comes with hurdles that you don't know until it happens. With that comes the biggest problem of all, which is the fear of what comes next. And when you've gone through enormous amounts of trauma, I got to hear this, shout out to Nigeria. I got to hear this morning on a prayer call that sometimes you will create your own traction, basically. Was I think the word Nigeria, correct me if I'm wrong, but that she used this morning when it seems like all is well and all is still and you have a hard time trusting that God can give you a life that is worthy, and I shouldn't say the word worthy, that is fulfilling. That seems terrifying. It's almost as in you're as if in your innocence of being terrified to be happy because of what happens next. What if the man that I knew, that I've known for 10 years, decides he's going to wake up and hit me tomorrow? What if he decides he's going to rape me or he's going to leave? Is the worst feeling in the world. Because of past traumas, it says that something is coming. Now, will my husband do that? No. Leaving would be the one that I would fear the most because of exhaustion. And what leaving, I think, in the sense of, do I think he would actually leave and divorce? No. But do I think he would become so tired that he would stop trying is, I think, what is fearful the most. But the most exhausting part of it all is that I caused that. Is that at some point you get exhausted with yourself and you want to stop running and you want a happier marriage and a happier life and you want to do all of these things that you've always wanted to do. So now, as I'm starting to heal and grow closer to God, it's very hard to see that you're exhausted, right? You're tired. I understand it. I think I actually explained that to you. So for a little backstory here, my husband has built multiple flower beds. We moved multiple times. He built one house basically from the ground up. And he's tired. He's tired of doing the show. And now that I feel like we finally have put God in the middle, right? And like we're finally starting to try to do it the right way. It's obviously not perfect. It probably never will be. Now it feels exciting, right? Now it feels like, okay, like we finally have made it here, but you're now to the point where you're like, I'm tired. I'm tired of doing this. So I'm sure for you, you're probably thinking, okay, if I start trying again, I'm not trying to speak for you, so please feel free to jump in at any point, but you're probably thinking, if I try again, God only knows what she's going to make me do. Like, you have to be tired, which is where, like I told you, I understand. And for all the years that you allowed me to try to heal, and I thought I was healing, right? Like, I didn't know that I was like surface level dealing with crap. It's now your turn to be frustrated and angry, and I'm trying to be understanding because we've gone through a lot of things together that you haven't really had time to, I feel like you've probably got this giant sense of whiplash. But it's really hard to own that. So anybody that's had past trauma or dealt with anything like that, like I genuinely hope that you allow yourself to understand that, you just have to keep opening yourself up. Because if I would have done this years ago, and we would have probably put God more at the front of our relationship years ago, this probably wouldn't be where we're at now. Now, granted, we've gone through what we've gone through to get here, right? To have our testimony, and I was able to be blessed enough to talk with a friend about this just the other day to hopefully, help her through a situation. And, that's, between her and God and, what she chooses to hear and to listen to. But obviously that is our testimony, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're on this podcast. But it's also very hard to accept the fact that, like, I can be the one that caused his pain, right? Not like I bought him the wrong sandwich from Burger King kind of pain, like genuine, deep, like he has, I feel like trauma is not the right word I want to use here, but like there's a sense of you that is like walking on eggshells, I feel like, almost. Because it's like, okay, what's going to happen next? And I'm telling you, like, rest, just talk to me, let's figure things out, let's do all these things now. And I'm like, and you're in a space where it's okay and it's not pretty, but like I understand now, right? So I think that's the hardest part of like all of it is understanding that and realizing that. And
well, and I've said it before, and like I can't say this enough, and I wish women would truly understand this and grasp this concept, because I know it absolutely frustrates most women out of their mind. But you guys have 10 thoughts to our one, and we are so simplistic thinking, right? Like we strategize certain things, but like we are so simplistic thinking. Like, despite how anything goes, I'm not gonna lie to you, right? So you're like, hey, I want to go watch this movie. Do you want to go watch it? No. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. The answer is no. I don't want to watch it, but I want to spend time with you. I want to see you happy, so I will go watch it 100%, and it won't bother me at all, and I will be happy, and it won't bother me at all. For some reason, if we say like, no, we don't really want to do that, like women get so uptight about it, and they're like, he's gonna be miserable. And he's like, no, dude. Like, no offense, I've had fun in some of the most awkward situations ever because I'm cracking inappropriate jokes in the back of my buddy. Like no, like it doesn't matter. Like, so like even like with last, Sunday night when that happened, it was very simple. Like, it has nothing to do with anything else. It was just like, I don't understand. In this moment, you're choosing to do you stuff, and you told me how you enjoy doing you stuff alone. There's no way I can communicate with you, so I'm just gonna get out of the way and play my game, and then when you're ready to hang out, we'll hang out. If you'd have been like, hey, I'd really enjoy it if you just sitting here with me and just hang out and whatever, I'd have been like, yeah, that's fine, but can you do me a favor and turn off the Netflix so we can actually conversate? Or at least turn on music, not just a movie that I can't even see or anything anyway. Like, that's just frustrating.
I think that's part of it, though, is not knowing what we need. Like, I didn't know in that moment till literally just now. Like, I didn't know that's what I needed, right?
Well, and that's just, like I said, it's just communication. Like, if you don't know what you need, how are we supposed to?
Right, and I'm not going to disagree that.
And I know I've seen the comments before in some of the YouTube stuff. And they're like, oh, I can tell by someone's tone of voice and emotions what they need. No, you don't. You can assume what you want to do to jump in and comfort them, and it doesn't tell you what they need. Like,
well, and the best case scenario is literally like, okay, let's go ahead and go break this down with like Father's Day gifts. For a long time, I bought you gifts based off of like, oh, I thought this was cute, right? Picture frames and stuff like that. Now, like, even we had I don't want to say an argument, but like a tiff over a Father's Day gift that we got you. Which was like a fun little golf club set that was like a grilling thing. And you're like, actually, I don't like to grill. And I'm like,
well, it's not.
Okay, like, I don't know.
That's the biggest thing. It's like, no, I'm not going to sit here and grill. This isn't fun. Like, I'm going to grill because if I have to cook, I prefer this over that, right? And it's like, hey, there's one day a year dedicated to us celebrating what you do for us, and I'm gonna buy you something so you can cook us food tonight. It's like, really? Like, that's like me saying Happy Mother's Day, here's a mop. Like, that's such a backhanded gift. It's I don't want to say it's insulting, but it almost is to a degree. And it is what it is. We're gonna shut up, say thank you, go with it in the moment, but like, you asked me to talk to you about it, and like, no, that's not what I wanted for Father's Day. If I want something for Father's Day, number one, you know exactly what I want for Father's Day. And I don't know why women make it so complicated. Like, you know exactly what it is I want. Like, well, that's blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, then don't ask what I want. You want me to want something that you want to give me, or you want me to want something that you would want or you think would want. Like, that's not how I work. I don't care about material stuff. Like, I don't care if I have that truck the rest of my life. I don't care. Like, I don't care if I have 10 cars. I don't care if I have one car. I don't care if, I have a house like we had on the one, or if we have a house like McCann Street. I don't care. Like, I'm going to die one day, and it's going to sit here anyway, so it doesn't change anything for me. Like clothes. Like, it drive you nuts. I got some underwear that's 7 years old. I don't care. If it's clean and still smells good, who cares? Like, it's clothes, it's stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, and it's so simplistic. 'Cause it's like, with most of that stuff, it's, I want her safe, I want her provided for, and I want her happy, in that order specifically. So that's all I care about. The details of how that gets accomplished doesn't matter to me. Like, if you're like, hey, I want to go hiking, and I'm like, man, I really don't feel like hiking, but like, it's gonna make her happy, so we're gonna go. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna crack bad jokes the whole time, and I'm gonna huff and puff, and I'm gonna make fat jokes because I can't breathe halfway up, and I'm probably gonna tell you I'm hungry halfway up too, and like pretend like we're gonna catch a fish or something, but like, it's fine. Like, it doesn't, I'm not upset. It doesn't bother me. But if you're like, hey, what do you want to do? As a man, I'm like, I want to go paintballing.
So is that where
I want to go shoot. I want to go.
Is that where the concept, like, obviously, so I'm trying to break things down for everybody sees stuff on social media, right? And I know you like to say that, like, I genuinely will compare, but I don't feel like I do. I think I try to understand, right? Because there are some relationships out there that are very much like they have a lot of fun together and they do these things together and they record it and they post it and they do all that kind of stuff. Or there's some like, so one of my
You only
favorites.
see highlights on social medias.
One of my favorites is Kay and Tay Dudley. Shout out to them. Love you guys. But
Who that is?
Kay and Tay Dudley. Kay is the one that had these weird pregnancy cravings, and her husband cooked them for her. Okay, right?
Little blonde girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we used to crack up at theirs. But, so Tay does so much. Like, he's been scrutinized on social media, and poor Kay, she's been, you know, everybody talks about how she's just so spoiled and she's all these things. But is that where, like, that comes from? Is like he genuinely just wants to make her happy, so he goes out of his way to like do these things. So like he
That's
makes
all
her
it's
these
ever
meals.
for. Like,
yeah.
like the craziest thing is like.
Okay, but hold on. So let me ask you this. I don't mean to interrupt you or cut you off, but like I'm trying to get a comparison here, right? So like Kay and Tay Dudley, it's the same way, right? Like I just explained, but then you see these other people who, like, say the man, for instance, really cares about like his appearance and how he shows up, and you know, they do these things together and they have fun together. But like, do you think that there is one, like, how do I want to word this? Like, there's a man who just loves his wife and wants to make her happy and almost idolizes her, but then there's a man who follows Christ and he understands that just making his wife happy is like part of life. Like, do you feel like there's a difference, like, in distinction?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a big issue nowadays a lot, is people idolizing their wives or their husbands. Because, like, I'm told specifically by God that if there's ever a time where you try to come between me and him, you try to lead me away from him, you try to do whatever, like, I am told basically to throw you out of my face. You know, I'm told to follow him.
Right.
And that's kind of how and it's the same thing vice versa. Like, so, you know, women are called to submit to their husbands, not to all men, just to their husbands. But women are called to submit to their husband, not because I said so, not because your husband said so, because Christ told you to. So your act of submission towards your husband is you obeying Christ.
Right.
Right? So you're told to do that unless I am leading you directly away from him. If I'm saying, hey, we're no longer going to worship God. Hey, we're no longer going to do, you know, whatever. You're basically to be like, no.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not following you on this one. Too bad.
Right.
That's when you're told, like, to hold your ground. And it's the same thing even with our leaders and the laws of the land. We are told to follow the laws of the land unless they contradict a law of God. Like, it's very plain and simple. Like, a lot of Christians don't want to hear this, but like speeding is a sin. It's pretty plain and simple. We're told to follow the laws of the land. So if you intentionally don't, you're intentionally not listening to what God said. Anything that is not of God is a sin. And that's where things get very tricky. Now, if it's, you know...
But now, so then go ahead and go into the helper. So I'm going to go ahead and give a scenario. So we have Bible study here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, we have Bible study here in Richmond on Tuesday. Thursday we have it in Connersville. So I told Charlie...
Sunday night I have my men's one.
What?
Sunday night I have my men's one.
Online. Okay.
Yep.
So I told Charlie, I felt like he was putting too much on his plate between the businesses and things like that, that I said, you know, why don't we do, you know, Tuesday one, you know, every week you have a Bible study, but, you know, Tuesday you have, you know, 1 week you have it Tuesday in Richmond, the next week you have it Thursday in Connersville, right? Like, where do you distinct? Because in my brain, right, like, I'm not trying to, I totally see where you're coming from. Like, okay, you put that division between you and God, but I don't feel like that is a division when I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, I'm trying to be your helper, right? Where you're not doing too much and then you end up going the wrong way. Like, Because if you're showing up to a Bible study and you're angry or you're tired or, you're not delivering the message the way that you should,
Yep.
isn't
Then
that
it is
harmful?
on me as a leader and as someone who is charged in that position to collect myself and be in a place I'm supposed to.
But that's where
When
I'm
we
saying.
pray on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays before I start any Bible study, I specifically always pray that God takes me out of the way. I don't want to be in it. I don't want to be in the way. Anything that needs to be said, anything that I want to add in, take out, everything that comes out of my mouth be from Him, be from the Holy Spirit. Do not let a single bit of my mind, my thoughts come through. And then you have faith that He does that. So,
But then as your wife and as like the helper per se, in your situation, right, your perspective, what do you feel like, so knowing me, right, like I'm not trying to control the situation, I'm just worried about my husband, right, like what do
which is
you,
fine, worry.
right, but like, I mean, I shouldn't worry, I should just pray, but what do you,
Okay, concerned.
yeah, what do you feel like the best outcome is for that, like as far as a wife that says, okay, I'm trying to be a helper and you're not listening, or a,
Well, and that's a great point, the way you phrase that. I'm trying to be a helper, but you're not listening to
Well-
me, right? Which, at that point, are you being a helper, or are you saying what needs to happen, right? So a helper gives me information, right? But it's still up to me to make the decision, right? And Christ references Himself and God references Himself a lot of times in those same words that we see in those situations, because God gave us the law, He gave us the directions, He gave us, Christ, He gave us all these things, but He still gives us the right to choose. And it's no different. You could tell me, hey, like I'm noticing not a lot of people are showing up. Maybe it'd be best if we tried X, Y, Z, yada, yada. And if I say, no, we're doing it, then it's okay. Like that is
But knowing-
submission. That's understanding.
but
like,
knowing who you are as a person though, I think
Right.
is where it gets very confusing.
the thing is, like, knowing my personality, my stubbornness, or whatever you want to call it,
I don't feel like it's stubborn.
don't
You just
you
are
feel
very
like
much.
that's almost a primary reason why God would have called me to do it, because He knows I wouldn't walk away from it?
I think sometimes though you do it to a fault. Like it almost becomes too much because you're like, no, I said I was going to do this, so I'm doing this. And oftentimes, more than not, you end up walking away tired and no result.
If it ever comes to a point where God tells me, no, you don't need to host it, you don't need to whatever, then I will not do it. Until that point comes, I will do it. I don't care if one person shows up each week, which has kind of been a theme here in Richmond, or if no one shows up this week or 10 people show up next week, doesn't matter. I'll still do it. I've got to watch at least 5 people off the top of my head turn their life over to Christ in the gym. I've got to have great conversations with young and new Christians here in this gym, this Bible study. I got to have a great conversation last week with a young lady who's coming through from a very unique past and history with all kinds of different things. And hearing those different perspectives and being able to answer questions directly that they have.
Which I think is amazing. So like,
And that's my thing. Like,
understand.
for you, it's like, okay, there's only a person or two showing up. For me, I'm like, I get a one-on-one chance with a new Christian to answer questions that no one else wants to answer. Like I wish I would have had that when I was their age, when I was a young Christian, because like I didn't. And I've brought this up several times. Like I was born and raised Southern Baptist, and I was 24, 25 years old, been in church since literally basically the week I was born, and would have people bring up conversations, talk to me about stuff in the Bible, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it's like, yeah, because, and I'm not bashing on churches or anything like that, so please don't take it that way, but you show up, they read a verse to you, they make it into a feel-good message, and then they say, see you later. And that's not what church is. That's not what church is supposed to be about. Church is, we're going to praise God, and then we're going to learn about God. But we're not learning when you pick one verse, potentially out of context or not out of context, harp on it, and then turn it into an invitational each week. Like, invitationals are very important and should be done each week. I'm not, bashing that by any means, but most of your congregation is saved, and they need to be learning what they're supposed to be doing and what the Bible teaches. Otherwise, you have 50, 60 people going out in the world who know nothing about their own beliefs. And then all of a sudden, we hear it all the time. Oh, they're hypocrites. They don't even know their own Bible. They don't even know their own beliefs. They just blindly listen to what their pastor said. Like, they can't even answer their own questions. They can't this and that. Like, and now everyone's like, this person's just a fool. Like, they believe something they don't know anything about. And that's a terrible first impression. And to me, it also begs the question on the other side. Like, if this is my father who wrote me 66 letters for me to learn about him and what he wants for me and all these things, why wouldn't I want to read through those? And most Christians don't. And, you know, if it's my Lord, Christ is my Lord and Savior, people love to throw that out there but never actually dive into it. If he's my Lord and he tells me to do something, I'm going to do it.
But doesn't this have to start with your home first? Like, I think that's my confusion.
No,
like,
it starts with you first, not your home. It starts with you. It's an individual.
Well, and I understand that, but then you're supposed to work in the home, right? And then serve from there? Am I wrong or am I right?
You should be so abundant in the spirits or the fruit of the Spirit that your very presence is a testimony to Christ. And like, that was one of the coolest compliments I've ever received, and one of the true moments that, like, I don't want to say, you know, validated my salvation, because that's not what it was. Like, I know my salvation, but it was so cool to hear one time, because there was a guy who stopped me in the gym and said, man, I can just tell that you know God, you have God, because you just have this overwhelming peace no matter what the conversation is, no matter what the problem is. Every single day I see you, like, you just have this peace. And like, he's like, I know it's kind of weird to say man to man. He's like, but like, when you give me a hug, everything feels okay.
But you don't do that in the home. That's what I'm getting at. Like, and I know that the home is your safe space, right? Like, I come home, I bring a lot of stuff home, right?
But
like,
no, so like,
and that's what I'm trying to get
don't
at.
twist
is like,
it, because you want me to come home and Bible thump you guys over the head, and I'm not going to.
no,
Like, your guys' relationship with Christ is still an individual relationship with Christ. Every one of you are old enough to know. Every one of you are old enough to ask questions. Every one of you are there. We've had times where we had Bible studies and nobody wanted to ask questions and dive into it. Like,
I think my thought is like the piece that you bring home. Like, I know I'm not great about bringing it home. Like, when I come home, it's like this whole like, blah.
So you guys have never once panicked that someone broke into your house and you had to fight them. You've never had that. You've heard noises, and the first thing you do is you shake me awake and you stay in bed and I go through the house.
Okay.
You have that peace.
Okay.
The kids have never once wondered where their next meal is coming from. They have that peace. They've never wondered if I'm going to punch them in the face. They have that peace. They've
Some
like,
days.
no.
I'm just kidding.
But like, you guys view it as like,
We don't hit our kids. Let's just be clear.
well, like, and you guys view it as like the same way I speak to Josie, who's hurting and trying to find Christ, is the same way I would speak to a Christian, and that's not true at all. We're clearly told, like, if you don't know Christ, I am only to love you and talk to you about Christ. If you are a Christian and you claim you are saved and you claim Jesus Christ's name, then I am supposed to hold you accountable, and I'm supposed to develop you in the path. That is not comfortable. Iron sharpened iron is an expression because, number one, it's uncomfortable for both parties, the rock and the sword. And number two, there's friction. You're breaking off bad particles, right? That's how you become a sharp weapon. So it's extremely uncomfortable. So
But I think
whenever
that's
the
the hard
girls
part.
and like me and you bicker because you're like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, it is that big of a deal. They don't need to be out past a certain time. They don't need to be running around with boys. They don't need to have boys on their Snapchat. They don't need to have these things. And you're like, you're just blowing it out of proportion. I'm like, no, you're accepting a modern day tradition over a Christian tradition, which comes back to the leading and being a helper and actually submitting. Because if you were submitting to me the way that you submitted to God, and God told you that, hey, they don't need this, you'd be like, okay, deal. But if I say it, it's, well, you're being over dramatic. And it's like, okay, well, like, that's my point. Are you truly submitting, or are you just pretending to?
But and that's where it's hard
You'll never
though,
convince
too.
me that a 15-year-old girl should be out at midnight at a park in the middle of the night. You'll never convince me that's okay. And it bugs me. Last night, when Sis got home well after midnight, you'll never convince me that's okay. Never. Not last night, but the night before. You'll never convince me that's okay. Like, you won't convince me that's okay for a 17, 18-year-old boy to be running around after midnight. 'Cause there's only two things that's going to happen. He's going to do something dumb and get hurt, or he's going to do something dumb and get someone pregnant. One of the two. And either way, it's not something that should be happening. So.
And I think that's where it's hard though too. Like I hear you, and it's not that I disagree with you. I think it's just for me, I'm seeing the change in the girls, and for me, they're just looking for like their sense of freedom, right? So like, I do have their Life 360. I know where they're at. I know they're being honest. I know that they're being truthful.
Freedom to do what?
So like they were playing pickleball, like, and they were just having a blast with it, right? Like we watched our daughter go from like vaping, drinking, doing all those things to now, like she's just having exciting moments and ready to come home and tell us because she's just out pickleballing. And like some of these other people wanted to drink, but she doesn't want to do that anymore. Like I do feel like because we've really allowed her, like her path to God,
so that's going to be my debate on that. Is you're claiming that because we gave her a taste of freedom this happened. I'm saying no, she got saved. The Holy Spirit's in her saying, hey, don't do this, it's wrong.
Right.
They don't have to be two opposites. She can still not be allowed to be out past midnight and still have a conviction not to go out and get drunk.
Yeah.
They don't have to be, like, it's not a cause and effect of that. So, and that's my thing. Like, you're claiming that they need freedom for what? What does a 15-year-old need freedom for?
It's not that, it's their sense of freedom, right? Like,
right. What do they need that for?
So, like, for them, it's like, you see it a lot, right? In kids that turn 18 and then they go buck wild because they didn't have all this freedom and like blah, blah, blah. But then you have like some kids like ours who just think it's the coolest thing in the world that they can drive to Taco Bell and be home before 1 a.m. And like, that's their freedom. Like they just think that that's so exciting. And it's like, okay, but if we've trusted our kids and we're now saying like, okay, I'm going to give you that chance, right? Like,
yeah, but that's my whole problem with this is like you think that giving someone trust and giving something whatever also means that, like, number one, they're not adults. Like, you love to throw that out there. They're not adults. Therefore, they don't have adult freedom.
Right. No,
right?
no,
so
no.
let's clarify that first and foremost.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is though is I guess for me it's a sense of protection, right? That I have to stop.
Right. How are they protected when they're out at a park at midnight in a town that's had 5 different people kidnap little girls? They're protected? What's that sense of that?
So again, that's what I'm trying to say. I feel like I need to let that go and let you take that. Like, I guess I didn't realize I was still holding on to the protection part, because for me, it's like I know that our daughters are going to want to go to college. So instead of them wanting to be out at midnight or 2 a.m. at a party, you know, now it's like, well, you know, I had a lot of fun pickleballing. Or there's so many nights where they do just stay in and they hang out with us, and then like.
Right, but I guess that's where I see the opposite of it, because for you, they're being taught that, well, I can stay out till midnight, 1 o'clock, and it's not a big deal. For me, it's you're forming a habit that when they're in college, they can stay out till midnight, 1 o'clock, doing whatever with their friends. It's not a big deal until something bad happens at a party, someone dumb does something like. And it's statistically speaking, the 2 biggest factors of anyone who's ever kidnapped somebody or done a heinous crime like that, right? The 2 biggest factors is, 1, they thought it was dark or whatever where they couldn't be seen or caught.
Right.
And 2, they were not scared of the parents. Those were the 2 biggest factors when they asked people about how they chose their victims. They said dad wasn't a threat, specifically, dad wasn't a threat. So men, perk up, man up, be a threat. You should absolutely be able to hurt somebody very badly if you needed to. If you can't do that physically, learn to shoot. But you should absolutely be able to hurt somebody if you need to, because one day your life or your kid's life or your wife's life may depend on that. Be a man. 2, you have to teach them basic survival skills in the sense that 300 years ago, it was, hey, don't wander in the woods by yourself because there's bears running around. Nowadays, it's, hey, don't wander around at 1 o'clock in the morning by yourself because there's perverts and predators and drunks and everything else out on the road. Right? So
And
I'm
the hard part
teaching
is
you
for
these
me-
habits of, no, you should be going to bed by 9, 10 o'clock, waking up semi-early, being productive, doing your thing. Like, I don't need to cater to,
9, 10 o'clock.
I mean, whatever, but I
I
don't
was
need
like,
to,
hold on, you're not even in bed by 9 or 10 o'clock.
I don't need to cater to today's world of
Okay, but here's what I'm saying, right? So
this is normal, so we
Jesus-
need to give them normalcy.
Jesus sat with sinners. He went to parties. He did these things. So it's hard because like I'm watching.
That's an interesting statement, but go ahead.
I'm watching the girls be placed in people's lives where there are opportunities for them to drink or to do these things, and instead they're choosing to just love these people, hang out, but also say like, I'm bold enough now because of being close with God that I choose not to do that. And like that is a huge moment. So it's hard as their mother to say like,
Right, but
I want to take that away, right? Like
So-
I watched them fight to get there.
once again, two major points of that. One, that doesn't mean they have to be out at midnight, 1 o'clock. That doesn't mean they have to put themselves in dangerous situations. Even when Christ knew they were coming to arrest him, he fled to the next city.
Okay.
So if you want to reference Christ, we'll reference that. When he knew they were coming to arrest him and he still had things he had to accomplish, he fled to the next city because it wasn't his time and he was going to have to do something he didn't want to, and blah, 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 right? So he went to the next city. Comparing someone to Christ in the sense of he sat with sinners,
Okay.
right, is very, very bold because he went out to share the gospel with them, right? First and foremost, that's not what our girls are doing.
No.
They're not out there preaching
no.
to people.
Yeah.
Second off, he knew no matter what temptation or whatever came about, number one, he had enough biblical knowledge to know if it was of God or not. They do not.
Okay.
Number two, he absolutely knew if it wasn't of God, he could say no and it wouldn't matter. They do not.
Okay.
Even giving someone a ride home from school, we've watched mess ups happen, right?
Right. Right.
So that's a very bold statement to try to make that comparison of Jesus
I don't
Christ
feel
to
like
a
I'm-
17-year-old.
I don't feel like I'm trying to compare
Even
in the
myself,
sense of like
you know, we're told specifically in the Bible, like lust, sexual immorality, we are told to flee from it because God and Christ is telling us like, hey, like this is one battle, like you're not gonna win. So
okay,
you need
so
to
flirting
flee from
with
that.
other females is not
We're told-
something you should do.
We're told to flee from that. We're told to, if you are looking at someone with sexual intent, flee from that situation. Do not put yourself in that situation, leave from it, right? And Christ is very clear that intent is the key. Are you flirting with this female, trying to screw her,
Okay.
right? Or are you simply being nice and people perceive it as flirting? Your intent, which is strictly between you and Christ, is 100% what matters in that situation. But we're told to flee from it. People who struggle with drinking, I get drunk, I sleep with other girls, you know, whatever it may be, right? I get drunk, I fight people. I get drunk, I whatever, right? They're told, don't drink. It's that simple. If this causes you to sin, don't do it. You know, people love to say the gouge out your eye and cut off your hand. The representative is things that you're seeing, situations you're putting yourself in, and your actions. Your right hand in Hebrew tradition means your actions. So if I know that drinking causes me to sin, I'm supposed to cut off drinking. If I know that every time I play football, I get hot and heavy and I start fighting people and cussing and acting a buffoon, I'm not to do that because I'm not representing Christ at that point, right? I'm told to avoid those things until I can handle those things. So we're not supposed to let our kids be put in these bad situations where they can make these mess ups, right? So it's no different than, you know, when people talk about husbands being controlling and possessive about where their wives go and things that happen. Like, you're looking at it all wrong. Like, if I had, if I, well,
Let's
hold
be
on.
clear.
If I had a $5 million diamond sitting in my house, I'm not going to take it out and leave it outside by itself and let people do all
So
these
I
things.
need you to go ahead and clarify that, though. Again,
Okay,
you're talking
yeah.
about men of Christ.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, let's
context that a little better, I guess. So I'm talking about, like, right now, she's like, hey, me and my girlfriends want to go to a club down in Nashville. And I'm like, no. Like, it's not that I don't trust her. It's not that I don't want to have her have fun. It's not, anything like that. Or even like the other day, she was like, me and the girls are going to go shopping in the Greenwood Mall. And I'm like, no. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going, I'm going with you. And I don't care what they do in the Greenwood Mall. It has nothing to do with it. But there's been 4 or 5 shootings in the Greenwood Mall in the last couple of years. No, I'm not letting you go up there without me because you suck at shooting a gun. No offense.
Wow. Shots fired.
The girls definitely don't know how to do it. And I'm not letting my most precious and prized possessions in this world go out there completely unprotected. That would be so stupid of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then if something did happen, I would never forgive myself for that. And how could I?
Okay.
Right?
But then does that beg the question of controlling, right?
No.
So hold on. The reason I asked this,
Intent.
well, okay, but
Am I controlling you because I'm trying to dictate
hold
what
on,
you're
hold
doing?
on.
Am I
The reason that
controlling
I
because I'm
asked
trying
this
to
though
protect?
is it's just like, okay, so like me with Trevor, right? Like I wanted to make him stay at home because I didn't want him to get hurt while he was driving because he's tired. I tell him he needs to go to bed. I tell him he needs to do all these things.
Okay.
But instead, I chose just to pray over his vehicle. I chose to pray over him. Like,
Okay.
so where do you do the distinction between the
The
two?
distinction is Trevor is no longer your responsibility.
Okay. No, well, hold on though. So what I'm saying is though, is I'm trying to give a scenario. So like, what I'm saying
That's
is,
the distinction.
yeah, but what I'm saying is though, like, okay, say that's the case, right? Like I'm going to the Greenwood Park Mall or whatever.
Okay.
When do you say, okay, I just need to pray with my wife and pray over my kids and, and let them go versus, because, okay, I guess I know you're going to hear this question. So
Go for it.
some people are going to say, okay, but then you're not trusting God.
Okay.
Right? That's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
how do you break that down? Because I see what you're saying and I agree, right? Like I feel better when you're there. I don't feel like I have to worry.
Okay.
But
Which is normal. I mean,
What-
they do those little TikToks all the time, like the girls flaunting around having a good old time, lollygagging. The boys are like, there's an exit to the northeast. There's 3 people on my right.
my favorite one is the nobody. Like I'm a woman, I don't need nobody, and then
Yeah.
he comes trotting in, and is like, I'm nobody. That one's my favorite. But.
Okay, so this is an interesting one, and I'm gonna get some heat on this one, but
Okay,
here's
so
the-
then hold on. Do we save that? Because like, where are we at? Because we're at an hour. Okay, so do we?
I can keep it short, and then we can expand next week if we need
Okay,
to.
okay.
But I guess to kind of leave a teaser for next week,
Yeah.
people strongly over grasp God's plan. And the brief elaboration is that they think every single thing that happens on this earth is God's plan.
Okay.
That is not true at all. And it's almost blasphemous for them to say that, right?
Okay.
God does not tempt people. God does not set people up for failure. God does not cause, XYZ to those he loves and things like that. So to simply say that a 2-year-old being, molested or whatever happening is God's plan is absolute heresy. It's absolutely ridiculous. That is free will that we were given. We were given the right to choose, and God is limiting himself and allowing us to choose. God's plan was from the very beginning. He knew he was going to come down as a man, as the Son, as the Word, be crucified, that we would be saved by grace and grace alone, through faith in Jesus Christ of who he is. That was God's plan, that we could choose to spend eternity with him, or we could choose to perish.
Okay.
That was our choices. That is God's plan. God says he will make things work for the greater good, which I'm paraphrasing a little bit on that one. But the devil has domain on this earth. It also specifically tells us that men of faith, Christians specifically, fathers, etc., if we do not provide and protect our families to the best of our ability, not that we will ever be perfect, so please don't do that, but we are told to provide for those in our circle, those are our loved ones. And if we do not, we are worse than somebody who does not have the faith at all. And that is why I try to emphasize how serious of a commitment being a husband is, how serious of a commitment being a father is, because you are charged very directly with God for very big things. But to simply say, that's not trusting in God because I pray that nothing bad would happen. There's unanswered prayers all the time. And unfortunately, we don't get to decide which ones those are and which ones those aren't. Mm-hmm. So to simply say, to try to categorize everything into God's plan is a very dangerous and very slippery slope. Because like I said, he made it very clear that the devil has free reign right now over the earth. He has dominion over the earth as far as that goes. And he's allowing him, keyword, he's allowing him to do these things basically just to prove that those who love him would still choose him in that sense. So, but we have free will. So if Jimmy decides to reject God and do something evil, he can. Because God allowed that, right? It's not a plan. But like I said, that's a tricky one. That's a one to really dive deep into. So that's kind of a cutoff or suspense point we can go deeper into next week. But that's without diving extremely deep into it, kind of a way to broaden that out. But
cool.
Somehow got way off of conflict resolution and et cetera in perspective, but
I feel like we kind of went through it and then came out on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So,
but
anyways,
like I said, that's just a lot of perspective from a husband, from a father, kind of why we emphasize a lot of things as far as like rules with how late they can be out, certain things that can happen. First and foremost, ladies, please understand we were teenage boys at one point, so we know what teenage boys are thinking. Also understand that we do understand that there are I don't want to call them men, so there are bad adult males out there as well. And we're very aware of that situation, and we are very aware it's our job to combat those people. So please don't ever take it in a negative connotation. It's not that we think you're worthless. It's not that we think you can't. It's that you are the most precious thing to us, so we want to protect. So
anyways, so next week, we're back. We're excited. We're going to start kind of clipping quite a few different things to be able to dive more into a lot of different conversations, but we would really like your guys' feedback and your guys' questions over things we could go over. Otherwise, I feel like sometimes we maybe just discuss the same things. So let us know what we can chat with you guys about and what are some things. Otherwise, we just kind of go through daily life stuff.
Questions,
to help
elaborations. You can have biblical questions. You can have business questions. You can have relationship questions.
If there's somebody you'd even like to see on here, let us know. So, all right, guys. Until next week, this is
Married too.
See you guys.